If you stand at the bottom of the world, you are standing on the coldest, windiest, and, on average, the highest continent on Earth. 99% of this landmass is buried beneath an ocean of frozen water. The ice sheet covering the rock below averages at least 1.6 kilometers thick. But all that frozen water creates a geographic contradiction. The ground holds billions of tons of ice, yet the atmosphere above it is entirely parched. This chart shows Antarctica receives only 200 millimeters of precipitation a year near its coasts, and far less inland. Because deserts are defined by lack of moisture, not temperature, this incredibly low precipitation makes its 14 million square kilometers the world's largest desert. That featureless white expanse is a deceptive shell. It hides mountain ranges buried under kilometers of pressure, evidence of a prehistoric tropical past, and a physical record of the Earth's atmosphere reaching back hundreds of thousands of years. To see what lies beneath that ice, modern scientists use specialized ground-penetrating radar, sending high-frequency waves down through the frozen water to map the hidden bedrock. They found the Gamburtseff mountain chain. These peaks are the size of the European Alps, yet they remain entirely buried and invisible from the surface. The radar also revealed Lake Vostok, a subterranean body of water stretching 250 kilometers long that has been completely sealed off by the ice sheet for at least 15 million years. Go back far enough in geological time, and that ice disappears entirely. Antarctica was once fused into the massive Gondwana supercontinent, situated much further north in a significantly warmer climate. Researchers digging through the rock have unearthed fossils of water lilies, as well as the remains of frogs dating back 40 million years. The continent was a lush, temperate land bridge. Ancient marsupials likely traveled directly from South America across a warm Antarctic landscape to eventually reach Australia. Today, the extreme cold has restricted permanent inland life. The largest animal that lives entirely on the Antarctic landmass is a tiny wingless midge. But the freezing ocean waters surrounding the continent are packed with nutrients. Microscopic phytoplankton thrive in the cold water. They become the primary food source for massive swarms of krill, small, shrimp-like crustaceans that anchor the entire Southern Ocean food chain. That density of krill pulls the largest animals on Earth down to the bottom of the globe. Dozens of whale species migrate to the Antarctic specifically to feed on these swarms. Millions of penguins also rely on this marine buffet. They survive the freezing air temperatures using tightly packed feathers coated in a waterproofing oil, heavily insulated by a thick layer of blubber. These animals rely exclusively on the ocean for sustenance. They only use the hostile, frozen edges of the landmass to briefly rest, nest together, and raise their chicks. For centuries, humanity assumed a southern landmass had to exist. Dating back to the 1st century, geographers like Ptolemy believed a massive terra australis was mathematically required at the bottom of the globe to balance out the weight of the northern continents. By the early 20th century, the existence of the land was confirmed, kicking off the heroic age of Antarctic exploration. The ultimate prize became a high-stakes international race to be the first human to reach the South Pole. In 1911, the Norwegian team led by Roald Amundsen claimed victory. Amundsen succeeded by relying strictly on specialized sled dogs to navigate the fractured, heavily crevassed ice. The competing British team, led by Robert Falcon Scott, chose a different strategy. Scott attempted to cross the frozen desert using ponies and early motor sleds. Both the ponies and the machines failed in the extreme cold. On the return journey from the pole, Scott and his remaining men were caught in a brutal blizzard and froze to death in their tent. Scott's fate highlighted a reality that would define the continent for the next half-century. It was too isolated and too lethal for any nation to successfully colonize. Because the landscape effectively repelled settlement, it remained a unique geopolitical blank slate. In 1959, 21 countries signed the Antarctic Treaty. Rivals of the Cold War agreed to set aside their territorial claims and declare the entire continent a neutral zone of peace. The legal parameters are absolute. All military activities are banned, and international law strictly prohibits the mining of any minerals across the 14 million square kilometers. Today, there are no explorers seeking ori or conquerors claiming land. Instead, a rotating population of up to 5,000 scientists live in specialized national science stations built directly onto the coastal rock and inland ice. A major part of their work involves drilling deep into the glacier to extract cylindrical ice cores, pulling up perfectly preserved columns of frozen water. Because the ice accumulates year after year without melting, it traps microscopic bubbles of ancient atmosphere. Scientists measure the greenhouse gases in these bubbles to track thousands of years of historical weather patterns and calculate the exact acceleration of modern global warming. Antarctica is a geographic paradox. The same frozen desert that once destroyed early expeditions now serves as a global archive, providing a clear chemical benchmark for how our atmosphere has changed since the dawn of the Industrial Age.